What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. I'm your host, Micah Gibson. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. On this podcast, we interview business owners to see the ins and outs and what it took to build their particular business. I hope you brought your pen and pad because we have a special guest in the building. I'm going to let him introduce himself and his company. And while you're at it, sir, give us a little bit of background on your upbringing.
My name is Ben. I'm the owner of MD Lawncare Landscaping. The MD stands for Maryland, which is where we're located. We've been in business for 3 years now. We're going into our fourth year this spring. Um, my upbringing. My dad, my dad had a construction company, so he got me started with this stuff pretty early, and that's why I started. Because I'm 17 years old right now. I started when I was 13, just going around the neighborhood. So it's kind of developed into having a couple close friends like employees and stuff like that. So, you know, it's pretty good.
That's awesome, man. You don't really hear too many young guys starting a business as young as you is. Uh, of all the things, what made you decide lawn care?
I think a lot of it was that's what my dad did to start. He did lawn care into landscaping, into hardscaping, into construction. So, he started with lawn care. I'm starting with lawn care. I don't really like the path of going into construction, hardscaping. I really like the lawn care side of it and getting that reoccurring work with mowing lawns. So I'll probably stay and do that. But that's kind of what motivated me to start and choose this path.
Okay, now you said you don't like the hardscaping aspect of it. So you're gonna mainly stick with just like mowing and trimming, like shrub trimming. You're not gonna branch off.
Yeah, because my problem with hardscaping is there's just so many variables that go into it, so much stress with it. When I put like a mowing route out, I know it's going to get done. It's pretty predictable with like the recurring work and everything, and there's not a lot of risk. Like the worst thing you can realistically do is pop a sprinkler head, rock hits a window from a trimmer. It's not that bad for hardscaping. You can make a mistake and it's a $5,000 mistake and you just lost a lot of money on a job. And especially because I don't know much about hardscaping right now because I've never really done it.
Hmm.
It's a little scary to me, and I might talk to some people in the industry and learn more about it. And that's how, if I was going to do it, I would do it. But right now, I'm definitely thinking of sticking to landscaping and lawn care just because it's easy money, no risk, and it's still a pretty good reward. You can get 750 to 1,000 a day.
Right, and a lot of people don't see that, man. They don't see that. Are you currently still in high school, or have you already graduated
I'm currently in high school. I'm in my senior year.
in your senior year? Now, let me ask you this. I've heard a lot of young guys say this. Do you have people persuading you like to go to college and give up lawn care?
Yes, my mom is really, really big into go to college, and I'm not really feeling it that much. I much rather stick with lawn care and keep doing what I'm doing, but we'll see what happens.
Right, and I've seen, man, because I don't know if you kind of, I guess, follow the lawn guys that's on YouTube or whatnot, but you'll
Yeah, I
see,
do.
okay, well, you'll see some guys like they really make a good run at lawn care, and then you see some guys that really just don't do that good with it.
Yeah,
Who is your mentors in this business?
it's got to be Mike Andes. The
Really?
way you know the way I initially started, I saw this like hour and a half long Mike Andes video, and he made it seem so easy, like step by step how to do it. And that very night, I think it was like 11 o'clock. I probably had a couple hundred in my bank account. I ordered like 2,000 door hangers. And this is actually a funny story. I ordered the 2,000 door hangers and they were like the worst door hangers you've ever seen in your life. I put like 400 out, got no calls back. It was terrible. So what I did was posted in a Facebook group and did a little door knocking, and then I slowly built up. I did a lot of free services
Hmm.
just so I could get reviews for Google My Business,
Hmm.
and that's how it started to grow more and take off some more.
So Google My Business was the kind of the main thing that started getting you work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm big into Google My Business because around me there's a ton of landscaping companies, but not a lot on Google My Business at all, which is kind of weird. But I think a lot of it is just older guys that haven't really adjusted to like the new type of advertising.
Wow, wow. Now that's awesome. You say that how it's a lot of guys in your area, but none of them's on not a lot on Google. Now
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what I've seen happen. I've seen happen like if you start telling everybody, "Hey man, jump on Google," they'll start jumping on Google, and then you kind of find yourself in bidding wars with a bunch of properties.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, because that happened to me. I have a lawn care business, and like you said, man, it was like at one point in time was because I remember it clear as yesterday. I remember I was the only guy in my area. It was like two other guys. It was a bunch of lawn companies, but it was like two other
Yeah.
guys. And then when I jumped on Google, I'm talking about, man, my phone started ringing, and my mistake was I started telling other guys, and man,
Yeah.
that just about cut my workforce in half when I did that. So
Yeah.
man,
Whenever I do leaf removal jobs and I go to the dump, I see like 6, 7 other trucks dumping off their leaves there. There's so many companies around here. And then when you look on Google, I mean, there's like 4 or 5 that are in my area that I can name. And other than that, Google's like empty still.
wow, man, listen, keep it that way. Keep it that way. Now, do you work by yourself or do you have employees?
So I work mainly by myself, and I have three of my close friends that do work for me occasionally as well.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Now, what kind of equipment are you running with?
I have I I have a 42-inch Toro stand-on mower. I have a 30-inch Skag SFC 30 push mower. I have a small electric push mower, and the reason I have the electric push mower is in my area I've encountered a lot of people that don't like you mowing early. They like to sleep in because I work on Saturdays as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we started like 8 o'clock ish.
Mm-hmm.
Between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, I just use the electric mower because it's not that loud.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 10 o'clock, when people are awake, I hop on the ride on and just fly through the properties. But having the electric, it allows me to not get bad reviews from people saying, you're here so early, you woke me up, and I can still get some jobs done.
Now, let me ask you. I've always been interested in this. Like, by your being in school, like during the week, do you jump on the route when you get out of school?
Yeah, so basically what I do is HCC, which is it's like half high school, half college,
Mm-hmm.
and I get out at like 1 o'clock. So then between 1 o'clock and in the spring where I am, the sun sets at like 7, 6.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a good like 5, 6 hours there where I can mow, and then weekends I can mow a lot too. But I try to stick to my schedules like 4-day lawn mowing
Mm-hmm.
and then 2 or 3 day landscaping. So I'll do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday lawn mowing, and then Friday, Saturday, and if I have a ton of jobs, Sunday I'll do landscaping.
Awesome. Now, do your clients, do all of them know that you're still in school?
I think they know I'm in school, but most of them don't know I'm the owner. When I when
Okay.
I didn't have a car yet and I couldn't drive, all of them knew who I was because it was just neighborhood. They knew I was the owner. But now that I've expanded a little further out, I think they just assume I'm a worker of the business, not that I own it.
Wow. Now, do you have interaction with those people who think you're just a worker? Like, do they don't say?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I try to have really, really good interaction with all of them. I bring them this bread stuff in the winter. I give them Christmas cards. I do a lot of stuff. Like if you said, name of one of my customers, I could tell you a story about them. So I am pretty close with all of them just because I talk to them on the phone. I do the quote. I do the job. I collect the payment. So I'm with them through every step, obviously, because I am the owner. But I still don't really think they assume I am for a lot of them.
Okay, that's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty
Yeah,
good. Now,
yeah.
do you go
When I
ahead?
sorry
No, go ahead.
when I was starting out, especially when I was younger doing the landscaping work, I really tried to hide that I was the owner because I felt like, this is a $800 job. Back when I was like 14, it's an $800 job. That's so much money. If they think I'm the owner, they think I'll do a bad job. So I try. Even if they asked, I'd be like, Nah, I'm just a worker. I'm not an owner. But the reviews speak for themselves, and the company speaks for itself. So now, if somebody asks, I would say, yeah, I'm the owner because we have 60, however many, I don't even know how many reviews we have across all platforms because we're on Yelp and stuff too. But, tons of reviews that speak very highly of our company. So I don't really need to pretend anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, what did you start off with? What was your equipment starting off?
Starting off, it was just the mower that I had to do my house. So
Okay.
I I mean, and I just did like my really close neighbors around. So I just had that mower. I pushed it around. I had an electric trimmer. I didn't even have I didn't even have a blower starting off. Thinking back to this, like a client texted me probably like halfway through the season, and I always like used a broom to do it, not even a blower, just a broom. And they text me and they're like, "Could you blow off my back patio next time you come?" And I was like, "Yeah," and like, yeah, I could sweep it, but that would be a lot. And I had a good amount of money at this point because I'd been doing it for half a year. So I went and I got a steel BR800 blower, and I still have it to this day. And it's a
Wow.
beast of a blower.
Wow.
It's a beast.
Wow.
So that's when I started upgrading and seeing that, the higher quality equipment, you get better cuts, it lasts longer. It's just way better all around. Because the mower that I started with, I still have it, but when I start up, smoke flies out. It doesn't work half the time. It's just not a good unit.
Now, how did you get your pricing right? Because when you first start something, you're not charging correctly. How did you learn about your
Yeah.
pricing?
I made a few really, really bad mistakes to start with the pricing. I tried to look at other people's price charts on TikTok and YouTube and, see what they did with it. But part of the problem was they had equipment that I didn't have that let them do it 3, 4 times faster. And there was one job where I think I initially quoted it like 185 and it took me all day long. Well,
Mm.
I think I quoted 185 over the phone, and then I went in person and I quoted like 300 then or something, and it took me all day. It was terrible. And like $300 working all day, like, yeah, it's 10 hours, $30 an hour, which isn't bad for like a 13, 14-year-old. But when you factor in, you used your own equipment, you used fuel, you did all that stuff, I didn't make money on that job.
Wow. Now I was gonna ask you, what's one of the what's one of the mistakes you had to learn the hard way? I'm assuming that's one of them, huh?
That was definitely one of them. I mean, one of the first ones, back to what I was saying about with the door hangers that didn't work. I got a scooter so I could pass all of them out a lot quicker because I did it the first day
Hmm.
and it took way too long. And I was like, if I just pass more out, and I thought, how could I pass more out faster? So I got a scooter, and it was like the cheapest scooter I could find because, like I said, didn't have a lot of money. And when I tried to set it up, it did not set up. It wouldn't work. I think I probably got it from like Amazon, and it like shipped over from China, and it was just a terrible unit. It
Mm.
was probably like $15 and it didn't work. So, that's one of the biggest lessons that I have to invest in good high quality equipment. You can't be scared to spend money, because if you're scared to spend money, you're not going to make money. You're going to have bad equipment and you're just going to have a lackluster business.
Wow, man, that's awesome, man. I want to tell you your mindset for a 17-year-old. You kind of ahead of your time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're kind of ahead of your time. Now, okay, I want to ask you, like, how did you get your routes and all of that down? Because like you say, when you first starting out, you just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Did at some point you started? Okay, I'm on this side of town Monday. I'm on this side of town Tuesday, or like
Yeah.
how
Yeah. Yeah.
that's explain that to me. Like how you have all your stuff? Because I know you said you try and work 4 days a week.
hmm Yeah. So when I first got the car and I could drive around and go more places, and I started expanding, I realized that my hourly rate was so much worse than before because I had like 10, 15 minutes of drive time between, because I got probably 80% of my customers from calls off Google My Business. So they were all around my area in like a 4 or 5 mile radius.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to drive 10, 15 minutes between houses when before it was just my neighborhood, which was just amazing route density.
Right.
So what I did was focus on a lot of old school marketing techniques. I did door hangers a lot. I did EDDM, every door direct mail,
Mm-hmm.
and I did yard signs. And I blasted those throughout like a 2 mile radius around my business. I hit probably almost every house in a 2 mile radius around my business. And that's what really helped me with the route density. And then what I did to just figure out like which house are close to each other, I didn't have a CRM yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went to, I forget if it was Google Maps or Google Earth, but one of them. And I just typed in the addresses and saw how far apart they were from each other and just, worked it out manually. And I'm pretty sure with the CRM, you can do that like Copilot and it just instantly does it. But I didn't have that type of technology. So I just manually went through and did all that stuff. But yeah, I remember when I first started driving, it was bad because all of that drive time between it just kills it. Like you really need to get it down to 2-3 minutes of drive time max between customers, or you're just gonna have terrible efficiency.
Wow. Now I heard you say you use EDDMs. Did you have any success with every door direct mailer?
I'm gonna be honest, I hate EDDM. Door hangers work. Door hangers worked amazing. Yard signs worked amazing. And the nice thing about that is you make the design, it gets shipped to you. I ordered it from, I think, Easy Marketing. I did the I did the yard signs, and Vistaprint. I did the door hangers, and it came to me, and you put them up, and they're great. For EDDM, you make the design, you do the same thing, and the post office, which is terrible, you have to go through all that stuff, ship them out, and I'm not 100% sure where the customers came from, but I've talked to a couple, and I can kind of tell sometimes, and it seems like the vast majority came from yard signs and from door hangers and not really from EDDM. But I still think just like based off brand recognition, like you have your truck going around, you have door hangers on everybody's doors, you have mail in their mailbox. I think it still helps just with brand recognition. And if you're targeting a small area like 2 miles, we're only doing like 1,000 houses,
Mm-hmm.
2,000 houses, whatever, it's not going to be a ton of money to EDDM all of them. So I still would recommend it,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it helped a ton just based off getting customers.
And I've heard mixed reviews on EDDM. I've heard guys say it really blew their business up, and I heard guys say, "Man, I
Yeah.
only got two clients off of it."
Yeah. The thing I like about it is you can do it so much faster than door hangers, obviously, because
Yeah.
door hangers you manually put out. EDDM, you can blast out 5, 10,000 or whatever. So, if you have a budget like that and you time it at a good time, it can be great. But I found that honestly, yard signs, I found that they're the best. Yard signs do amazing for me where I am. So I do yard signs first, door hangers second, EDDM third on the list.
Okay. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Now, where do you see your business going? I know you're still in. I know you're still young. Where do you see your business in 5 years versus where do you see it in 10 years?
Gosh. Next year, I'm already in the works to get another crew going. So,
Wow.
2 crews then. Thinking about expanding after that. I don't know. I would like to have, I don't know if you follow this guy. It's like Zek Exteriors. He does really good work, and he's kind of like a mentor to me. I've done a few like one-on-one coaching calls with him. But what he has is a lawn mowing truck, a landscaping truck, and a power washing truck. And I've always been really interested in like the power washing, soft washing, house washing game. So maybe I want to do probably like 4 or 5 lawn mowing crews that work 5 days a week and mow around the area and just have amazing route density with that. Maybe have 1 or 2 landscaping crews where I can get a few customers off Google My Business and I service all the customers that I do mowing for and everything. And then also, I don't know if it would be incorporated into the MD Lawncare Landscaping business, like the guy I talked about earlier, Zek Exteriors is, or if it would be like a separate thing. But
Mm-hmm.
I would like to do something with power washing because I see a lot of stuff about that, and they just have amazing hourly rate, and it just seems fun to get into. To be honest, I want to do it. So that's probably where I see it. I see it as, you know, maybe 5 crews for lawn mowing, 2 for landscaping, and hopefully like 2 for power washing as well for 5 years. And 10 years, gosh, I don't even know. If you asked me, when I was 7 years old, what I'd be doing right now, I would be miles off. So 10 years, I
Right.
can't even imagine. But
Man.
hopefully good. Hopefully the business is doing good. I'd probably like to be, Mike Andes talks about a lot where when you're 0 to 200,000, you're working in the business. When you're
Mm-hmm.
200,000 to 800,000, you're working inside of it. You're doing quotes a lot. You're, helping office managers. You're managing employees. And then when you get up above 800,000, you become an architect, and you're just, tweaking certain things and doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And another guy I watched, Stefano Narducci, does a lot of snow removal. Something like that, where I'm more just, working on the business, not really in the field. Maybe I have a manager that does most of the stuff. So a 10-year goal, and I'm just getting, 100,000, 200,000 without doing too much work. But, I'm not really the type of person to be complacent. I think even after that, once I have that income coming in, I'd like to transition and do something else, maybe buy another business, start something else. I have no clue what, that could be, but I'm definitely don't want to do this forever, but I also am not going to just, get a manager and get 100,000 coming in and just, sit on my ass and not do anything. I'm going to start doing something else and grind that, because I just always want to do more and be more.
Wow. Now I heard you said you done a couple of coaching calls. You have a lot of guys on the
Hmm.
fence with that don't believe coaching calls really help or don't really pay for or the money or the coach sometimes want too much money. Like,
Yeah.
how do you view that? Like, do you really think, hey man, coaching call really help, or it's kind of, I would have figured it out on my own.
Yeah, so the way I did it was, the reason I got into it with the guy named Zach is because I've seen a lot of his stuff on TikTok and on YouTube, and my advertising on Facebook wasn't doing great. And I was thinking, like, I've tried a couple different things. I've watched videos. It's just not working. The customers were not coming in. So I thought, like, how could I fix this? I saw one of his videos that showed he had like 87 customers that came in from Facebook, and I knew he was doing mentor calls. So I commented on one of his videos, like, one on one, and then he sent me a link, and it was $100 per hour.
Mm-hmm.
And, just the way I think about it, I think a lot of people would say $100 an hour, that's so much, that's insane. But, like, if you're talking to somebody who spent like 50, 60, $100,000, let's just say, in marketing, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to, be very knowledgeable about marketing,
Mm-hmm.
you can either spend those $200 and talk to them for 2 hours, or you can spend $60,000 like they have to get to the knowledge they have. Like, I would much rather spend $200, soak up what they have, take notes on it, really listen to what they say and learn about it. And then I'm starting off with way more knowledge than I would if I just kept, doing the things that didn't work.
Right. That man, that makes so much sense. That make because
And
go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was just about to say, I don't know who doesn't, but I see this guy who interviews a lot of like millionaires and billionaires off the street, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of what they say is knowledge of yourself is the most important thing you can invest in, and beyond equipment, beyond any other thing, it's just educating yourself. And they spend so much money on self education and reading books and talking to mentors. And if people that smart and that rich are doing it, then there's got to be a reason behind it. They're not stupid people.
Yeah.
And if they're spending lots of money to educate themselves more, then it's probably a really smart thing to do.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. And I do know the guy you talking about that walk the street and interview millionaires and billionaires. That's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's that's awesome. That is awesome. Now let me ask you this. In lawn care, it happens to everybody. Have you ever broke a window before?
I actually have not. i
Wow.
see i see people say all the time, like, that's, like, one of the worst things I can have. And i've I've popped a couple sprinkler heads, but I've actually, yeah, never broken a window.
Wow, that's awesome, man. I think I've I average at least one a year. it's not, and when it happens, man. It never happens when you're on the mower. It happens when you got a string trimmer in your hand. And I
Yeah.
don't know if is it because I don't run guards on my trimmers. That's probably why. I mean, but it's man,
Hmm.
it's ridiculous, you know. And it's not nothing you're doing on purpose. It's just
Yeah.
you just look up and it's like, oh man, did I just do that? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason behind that is, like I said, I started off with like pretty cheap equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So the string trimmer, it was electric, and it really, like, I thought it was powerful. I thought it was strong, and then I upgraded to a steel engine string trimmer, and it was crazy strong, and weighed more. So that stuff can really throw rocks and break windows. But the little electric one I have, I think even if it hit a rock at the right spot and it somehow managed to go to the window, I don't even think it could have broken it.
Wow.
But in the past 2 years with the powerful string trimmer that I have now, part of it might just be because I only do 4 days a week instead of like 5 or 6 like other people. So I'm not doing mowing as much as some other people. And because we only do 4 days a week, I'm pretty like acquainted with the houses, and I know what to do in certain situations. So I feel like a lot of the problems that happen, they come when you're doing a new house. That's why I try to stay away from one-time mows, because I don't know where the sprinklers are. I don't know if there's like a mud patch somewhere on the property. I'm just not acquainted with it. So with the 4-day route that we have, I know all the houses really well, and that might be a problem going ahead with getting the new guys and the new crew. But we'll see when that happens. I've never popped a window. I've hit a few sprinkler heads, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And typically the customers are actually pretty understanding about it. If you say, like, yeah, I made this mistake, I'm sorry, I'll fix it. Like, with my experience, at least, they've been pretty understanding. And I can see how someone's pissed that you break a window and it's a little worse than a sprinkler head. But I've had almost nothing but positive interaction in my business, to be honest.
That's good, man. That's really awesome. Now, let me ask you this. You does brand quality and not brand quality, does the name of the mower matter to you? Like cuz
Uh,
in my area you have Skags and X marks. And
yeah,
what's the main mowers in your area?
I see a ton of guys running Toro, a ton of X marks, not as many Skags, to be honest.
Really?
And I mean, yet, and to me personally, I don't think it matters at all. What I like to have my branding very focused, and the color that we have is orange. So, you'll see in a couple of my videos, I'll have an orange sweatshirt on and an orange hat. My truck, well, it's a little bit of a funny story with my truck. I wanted to get it wrapped, but the neighborhood that I live in, it's an HOA, and they don't allow getting your truck wrapped. So I have like these orange, like bumper stickers.
Yeah.
I have those, but they're like 3 feet by 3 feet. They're huge stickers, and I put them on when I'm going to do properties, and I take them off when I'm done, so the HOA doesn't get mad. But I try to really focus in on orange, so I do try to get Skag just because of that reason, because Skag's orange and it fits with the theme of my company. But like quality cut, anything like that, I don't really have any like loyalty to any brand.
Right, right. Because I know, like a lot of guys, they say they go with dealer support, like who's ever the best dealer. Because in
Yeah,
in my area, man, don't get me wrong, I would love to go back to Xmark, but I'm gonna be honest, my Xmark dealers, man, it's just if you take your mower there, they're gonna have it for about 5 weeks. And I'm and I'm to the point because you have one dealer, they say, hey, call before you come and we'll let you know when to bring it, and that's normally 2 to 3 weeks late. And then
really,
another dealer I have, hey, yeah, just drop it off, we'll call you when it's done, and that's 3 to 4 weeks later. And I'm gonna be honest, man, I don't want to buy another Skag mower, but my Skag dealer is just so awesome that I'm gonna probably end up buying another Skag mower.
my Skag dealer is awesome as well. I was about to say I popped a tire on the Skag earlier, and I called them and I was like, yeah, I don't know how to repair it. Can you guys help with it? And they're like, oh yeah, the parts. I think it was like 97. It was like $100 basically the part. And they're like, we won't charge you for labor at all. We'll just put the part back on, because it was like still in the warranty phase.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, yeah, we'll just put the part back on for no labor charge. We'll order it now. Just bring it in tomorrow. And I brought it in the next day. They had the part. Um, I was there for 15 minutes talking to, the guys that ran the place. And then they said, it's all done. And it was honestly an amazing experience. And, the thing I was going to say about, does the type of mower matter? It's like what Mike Andy says a lot, and I kind of agree with it, that it doesn't really move the needle. Like if you have a Skag, if you have an X Mark, if you have a Ram truck or a a Chevy. Like I agree with him that
Yeah.
it's a coin flip. And I used to, when I got the Skag SFC 30 lawnmower, I really did a ton of research into it and
Mm-hmm.
thought like mower makes a business. I need to get the best mower. I can give the best cut, do the best. But like now, I just think it doesn't really matter that much. I do agree that it's basically a coin flip. It doesn't move the needle, and anything's good. And I agree that deal support is also more important than it, because the dealer I have, it is kind of unfortunate. It's like 40 minutes away,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't go there very often because there's just no dealer around me, which is, it's not good, but it is what it is.
Right.
But they're amazing, and I would stay with them just because of the deal support. If there's one mower that's $3,000 and another mower that they're selling, it's the same mower for $4,000, I would probably buy it from them just because the support's so good and that matters so much.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Now, have you ever ran across somebody trying to take advantage of you because you're so young?
There was one time, and I'm not sure if it was because I was young or if they were just, you know, not a great person, but I did kind of get the sense that they were trying to take advantage of it. It was a leaf cleanup. Forget if it was a year or 2 years ago, but it was a little bit ago, and it was a leaf cleanup, and it was a huge property. It was one leaf cleanup. Me and my other friend were there all day. It was huge, and I finished, and he sent me a photo after I finished, and it was like a couple leaves behind a flower pot. Like you couldn't even see them. You had to move the flower pot to even be able to see them. And he sent me this picture, and he was like, "Payment won't be sent until this is done." So
Wow.
I did it, and the first time I knocked on the door and I tried to do a walkthrough with him, but I knocked on the door, he didn't answer. I called him, and he said, "Yeah, I'm not home." And this time I told him in advance. I was like, "Let me know when you're gonna be home because I want to do a walkthrough with you after we're done. So
Right.
we make sure everything's good." So we fixed the flower plot. I literally think I stuck my hand down there, picked up 5 leaves, and like threw them in the truck and did a walkthrough with him. He said he was all good, and he didn't seem too happy that he had to pay the bill after, because I don't know if what it was. I don't know if he saw we were young and thought we were the owners, so he thought he could take advantage. I don't know what it was, or the bill was too high, I didn't want to pay it. But for whatever reason, I did definitely get the sense that he was trying to get out of it.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, man. But you do have people like that. Now I got a
Yeah.
couple more questions, and I'm gonna get you out of here.
All right.
Are you reading? Are you? Is there any books you're reading or any motivational speakers you listen to?
Motivational speakers, not really.
Mm-hmm.
I see. Gosh, I don't even know his. Oh, Andy Elliott, that guy. I think he's
Mm.
like kind of crazy, but he's the only one I even see a lot. Um, the books. I mean, I think I've said it like 7 times already, but the book Mike Andy's made,
Mm-hmm.
the business turnaround. I just like enjoy reading it. Like if I'm out on a job and I have the option of listening to music or read, like I listen to it on Audible, so Audible like says it to me while I'm doing a job. I actually enjoy doing that. So I've listened. I think Mike Andes has put out like 2 or 3 books. I've listened to all of them a couple times. So books wise, that's all I really do. I don't know a ton, and I do want to get into reading books business wise. They're past just landscaping. Books about all around business in general, but I'm just not really there at the moment.
Yeah. Do you like audiobooks? Like, have you ever thought about that, or you rather read them?
I love audiobooks. I hate reading. I think reading is because
It's outdated.
when I'm listening to an audiobook, I can do it when I'm
Working.
at the gym, when I'm on a job, like
Yeah.
anywhere. When I'm reading, I feel like it's just kind of a waste of time. But
Right.
I feel like I can soak up the information the same way, so I might as well just listen to an audiobook while I'm doing something else.
Now let me ask you this: since you're still currently in school, do you think the
hmm
things that you are learning in school is going to help you out in the real world when you finish high school?
I think everybody says the same thing, and that's that it has no real help at all. I think it I think it's really important just to get a good grade if you're going to go to college. So, I mean, it's just like the path most people take, get good grades in high school, go to college, get a job. And I think it's a great thing to do and it's really important. But, you know, a lot of stuff we're learning is just it's just not helpful. I'm learning about like transcendentalism right now and trigonometry and all this stuff that like do you know what transcendentalism is, or like has it ever mattered in your life?
No, I don't even know what that is, man.
Probably not. Like most of this stuff, it just doesn't really pertain to anything. So it's hard to like really stay focused and care a lot about it when it's just so unimportant. But and I don't even really want to go to college, so it was really hard for me to stay focused and care about what we're doing. But I think the main thing is just that it shows colleges that you can do a good job and you can get good grades and you can apply yourself. So I think it is important, but the stuff you're learning, I don't think it really applies to anything at all.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Now, I normally ask any advice you can give to your younger self, but since you're so young, but I will say, man, I really see, man, within 5 years, I really see you doing something really great and awesome in your business. And I hope, man, you can look back on this interview 5 years from now and be like, man, because you're fixing to graduate high school, you still have your business. I'm assuming you still staying with your parents.
Yeah,
And in 5 years or 10 years, if you ever listen back on this interview, it's like, man, the things that the things your younger self will accomplish. Because like I've talked to guys that's like in their 40s and their 50s, and they be like, man, if I could tell my younger self this, but it's like, man, you already have the mindset. I actually, you have the mindset of an older guy as a young man, and you're ahead of your time. And also, you also are ahead of a lot of guys that's already out here that are grown men. So, man,
I appreciate that so much.
right, if I can say one thing as an older guy with a wife and 5 children, man, if you stay on the path you're on, uh, keep that same mindset of wanting to work for yourself, wanting to own your own business, man, it's gonna be tons of women knocking down your door want to be your wife. If I can say, man, that's one of the another things, man, that's gonna be real important is who the girl you pick to be your wife. Because when you're young,
Yeah,
you can just date and have fun, but it's like I see a lot of potential in you, man, and I just really hope you stay on the path that you're on.
thank you, man.
Yeah. Now, so is there any advice you can give somebody else that's thinking about jumping into lawn care? Like, what advice would you give them today out of all of the stuff you have learned?
I think the only advice would just be, to do it. And I feel like everybody says it, but it's just true. When you're like looking at videos online, when you're thinking about, you know, going into it and taking the next step, like you just have to do it. When I bought those door hangers that one night at 11 o'clock and they turned out to be awful, like that wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't the end of the business. It's taken off so much since then. Like if you just get your foot in the door and you start doing it and you start working, it will take off. If you apply yourself to this or to anything, it will work out. So I just think go for it and see where it takes you.
That's awesome, man. Now, do you want to plug your social media handles before we get out of here?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know the handles, but it's
Okay.
MD Lawncare Landscaping is the name of the business. I don't know what the handles are specifically, but if you look that up, it might come up.
Okay, awesome, man. Well, look, I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. You have a good one.
You too. Bye bye.
All right. Let's give that guy a round of applause. 17 years old, already have his business up and going, and he have a plan for the future. That's awesome to see a 17-year-old still in high school already has a plan, and you have grown men in their 20s and 30s and 40s are moving around in life with no plan. You know what's going to happen in 10 years? In 10 years, a lot of you guys will be working for this young man right here. That's what's going to happen in 10 years. And I see nothing but potential with this young man. I really do see him growing a big business. Even if he doesn't grow a big business, he's still going to wind up successful. Why? Because he have the will to win. He has the will to win. A lot of you guys, you can have the will to win if you choose to. A lot of you guys choose not to. Man, I tell you, there's nothing like being in America the land of the free. You can be whatever you want to be. If you want to be a bum, you can be a bum. If you want to be wealthy, you can be wealthy. If you want to start your own business today, whatever it is, you can start your own business today. Now, the question is, moving into 2025, we are the first week in 2025. What do you have planned for the first week? I'm your host, Micah Gibson. Thanks for tuning in from the Valley to the Mountaintop podcast. Maybe you will be my next guest and you can tell me how awesome your business is, how you've went from the valley to the mountaintop. We'll catch you guys on the next one.